Now, what I mean here is that these are products and services that are already in the market. They've already started with a particular type of pricing technique. Now they are altering that pricing to get better revenue, or they've realized that it's not the best kind of pricing and they want to change the pricing technique. So now what I'll explain is the pricing technique strictly for price altering. When I go into the next bit, those would be pricing techniques for a brand that is going to price its products and services for the first time. So the first one is cost plus pricing, which is something that we also learned in our economics class. It's a very basic pricing strategy that involves determining the cost of goods and services and adding a percentage or a margin as a markup there. And that's how we come to the final product cost. So iska formula, what sir had given is, your fixed cost, that's your total fixed cost divided by N. Now, what is N here? And this is where economics and marketing is different. Your N is the total quantity of the product that will be sold in a lifetime. And this is something that's going to be very hard to ascertain because तुम लोग जितना भी forecasting कर लोगे, जितना भी budgeting कर लोगे कि okay, I'll sell 1 lakh units in the entire lifetime, and based on that I'll make this particular cost. It's going to be very ineffective because no company can very accurately predict this. So that's why sir feels that cost plus pricing is the most flawed type of pricing. And if the N is going to be lower, then we are going to have a notional loss. If N is going to be higher, then we are going to have a direct loss. So unless we are able to accurately get the N, it's going to be a flawed pricing, which happens in most cases. So it's fixed cost divided by N plus your variable cost and then your direct margin. Say if I want to have, I know that my overheads are going to be at least 20%, then I'll keep a margin of 30 to 40% as my margin, which is going to be my direct profit. So this is your cost plus pricing, which a lot of us already know that, and we have learned in the economics class. The target pricing, target costing is a very different one that Sir had taught, where it's a pricing method that integrates market research and customer preferences into product development. So we understand from consumers that, what is it that they are willing to pay for a particular feature, for a particular product. It's very heavy on market research. We understand from them for each aspect how much are they willing to pay. For an overall product, how much are they willing to pay. We do a conjoint analysis. We do a part worth analysis. When I say part worth analysis, we'll take each part and understand what does a consumer place as a worth there, and then based on that assess the overall value. So this method will calculate the estimated price based on the customer's input and the overall market demand. Based on that, we'll understand the overall feasibility and then put a margin. So in the previous one, we are putting a margin based on, I want to have a 30% margin. Here, the margin will be calculated on actual perception that the consumer has, that I'm willing to pay, say, 100. My cost is coming to 80. So then the margin comes out to be 20 in this case. So it comes from market research. The margin will come overall from the market research, and from the market research, we'll understand what is the final pricing that uh, you know is the most ideal one here. Moving on to the next part, that would be your perceived value pricing. Now, sure, I'll give a different example than what Sir had taught in class. Bear with me and bear with the example that I'm going to give. Take, say, a Ford ka car and a Maruti ka car, right? Now, a Ford ka car, again, very dumbed down numbers. Say, if a Ford's car is going to cost you 4 lakh, but the servicing, you require servicing only once a year, and that servicing is going to cost you, say, 10,000 rupees. Now, compare it to a Maruti ka car, where the car is going to cost, say, only 3 lakh rupees, but you need to service that car for you need to service that car every 6 months, and there your servicing cost is going to be, say, 8,000 rupees every time you service the car. Again, don't take it as a realistic aspect. These are just examples. Now you imagine that you're probably going to use the car. In my head, I'm going to use this car for 2 years. So then we see that in the lifetime of using that particular car, what is the overall value I'm going to get, or what is the overall cost I'm going to spend. So in the first case, 4 lakhs is my cost. in 2 years I'm going to have 4 lakh plus 20,000 as the costing that's going to come out. So that's 4 lakh 20. But say in the second case, the car is going to be for say 3.5 lakhs. Let's say 3.5 lakhs. But every 6 months I'm going to spend 8,000 rupees on servicing. So in a particular year I'm going to spend 16,000 rupees. In 2 years it's going to be 32,000 rupees that's there. So अगर हम overall aspect से ले, your car 2 will be more expensive and less worth than car 1. And this is what sir has taught using a tools ka example where uh, your tool 1 is going to cost say $1, which lasts 30 hours, but it requires 4 replacements over 120 hours. So your total cost is going to be $4 plus $20 for labor. That's your $24. But your tool B is going to cost $5. It lasts 120 hours, but it's a one-time setup. It is going to run for that entire 120 hours. So your total cost in this case is going to be $5 for the tool and $5 for the setup labor, which is going to be $10. So perceived value pricing is where that particular brand then needs to communicate that this is your overall perceived value over through the lifetime of selling that particular or using that particular product. That's what a lot of brands today use, that it's not that our cost is higher. Maybe your one time cost is going to be higher, but if you're going to see that over a usage of 2 years, over a usage of 3 years, it's actually going to be much more beneficial to you. And that's how they use perceived value pricing to communicate the benefits that they are selling. So in this case, there is a direct benefit where you can see it when you break down the cost. And this is more of a B2B example. But if you take the car example, then there's a direct difference that you see in the lifetime of purchasing that product. So this is what EVs are doing today, right? लोग EVs में भी वही बोल रहे हैं कि while our EV might cost higher, electricity charge is much lower, and that's why in the lifetime of using it, it's going to be much cheaper. So this is perceived value pricing. The next one is, these are certain advanced pricing techniques that, CERT built into as well. Going into perceived value. Perceived value is how your consumer values the value of that particular product rather than the price. So the key idea here is to communicate that in the true cost of that particular product, it not only includes the purchase price, but also other associated costs like maintenance or replacement. That's going to be there overall. So when we say perceived value, you feel that in that same 100 rupees, how am I getting more value out of it? If I'm today spending 100 rupees and tomorrow I'm going to go to that same place and I'm getting a lesser price there, that's going to be a value pricing. So the example that he gave here is everyday low pricing. This maintains the lowest price for that particular product. And you know कि अगर मैं डीमार्ट जाऊंगा तो मुझे वैल्यू प्राइसिंग ही मिलेगा. It will be the lowest in versus say a Reliance or versus your neighborhood grocery store. So the difference between value pricing and your perceived value pricing is इसमें तुम्हारे hidden costs or your replacement cost is communicated to say that if you look at it from a lifetime value, I'm giving you a better value. When it's value pricing, you see you are getting a direct benefit. As a consumer, you're able to see a direct value proposition. You're getting more quantity, you're getting lesser price. That's value pricing. Psychological pricing is where we see that it's a 99 rupees or 299. So 299 seems cheaper than 300. People think that okay, it's not as expensive as 300. Or today a lot of brands price their product at 69 rupees. So again, people are giggling, and that kind of gives them attention and makes them feel like okay, let me purchase it at that. Or Dove may price its product a sachet at 7 rupees instead of 10 rupees, where again people feel it's much cheaper. 7 rupees is closer to 5 rupees than to 10 rupees. So people may actually go and buy that. So this is known as psychological pricing. Decoy pricing is something that we see again in a Starbucks, in a movie theater, where there is small, medium, large that's projected. Your medium ka pricing will always be a decoy pricing, which is which will be too expensive, and between your large and medium there'll be a very narrow delta. So once you see that pricing will be like, यार अगर ये 15 मीडियम 15 रुपए में मिल रहा है, लार्ज से 20 रुपीज में मिल रहा है, I might as go will go for large versus going for medium, and small will be too less of a quantity. So decoy pricing is basically to ensure that you are going for the highest cost, and we have an additional cost just written so that people feel that okay, you're getting more value by purchasing larger quantity. The next one is two-part pricing. This is again something that we learned in economics as well, where you are paying for one part of the overall pricing, but you need to you need to pay an additional part to continue to use it. So it's your razor blade, print toner. Even in amusement parks, you might have an entry fee, but then if you're going to go on additional rides, for each ride there is going to be a particular cost that's going to be there. So there's a fixed part to it and there's a variable component to it. That's what is going to be your two-part pricing. So these are the 7 pricing techniques that can be used for price altering for a particular brand or a particular product that's already in the market. When we go to the to the next segment, this is when you're going to be pricing a new product or a new service, right? So previous segment, I hope all of you understood what those 7 pricing techniques are. If you have any doubt, let me know. I can proceed after that. Okay, I'm assuming no doubts. So the next one is quite straightforward. This is pricing strategies for new products. The first one is price skimming, and so it's where you launch your product at a really high price, and then you keep reducing the price as the time progresses. This again is there's a high willingness to pay when it's launching. It's a new product. iPhones mostly do this. Any kind of electronic gadget does this, where at the start it's the maximum price and people are going to buy it no matter what happens. In 2 days, iPhone 17 ka launch event is going to be there. People are still going to buy the product on Blinkit at the cost price. But as time progresses, in 6 months they'll slash the price so that people who are not able to afford at that particular price now can afford it. They'll buy it, and then after say a year and a half, today even auto walas are buying it off on Amazon, right? So this is a price skimming technique. Pricing penetration is where you introduce your product at a very low price and then you quickly gain market share, and then you gradually increase your product price. So one brand that did this, guys, here please don't use Geo as an example. What Geo did was not a pricing penetration. They actually gave your SIM cards for free. They gave you your offers for free, and then they started charging you. Because as such, if you give it at such a low rate, then TRAI and Competition Commission of India would come in and say that you're creating a price war and it's not going to be sustainable. But say Amazon Prime Video, what they did is they came into India with a very low price. With your Amazon Prime subscription, you're able to see Prime Video. But today you see you need to pay a different price for accessing Prime Video. Today they've started ads. So if you want without ads, then there's a different pricing technique there. So pricing penetration is where you come into the market at a very low price, get a larger market share, and then increase your price. Uber also did this. Rapido also did this as a strategy to gain market share. The third one is going rate pricing. This is the laziest way to price your product, where you see your competition. You see that, okay, they're pricing at 15 rupees. I'm also going to price at 15 rupees and go ahead with it. So it's the easiest way. It's the most laziest way to price your product, but a lot of brands still do this. So these are the 3 type of pricing techniques when it comes to introducing a product in the market. There's something known as, so after that we go to price discrimination. Again, something that we have learned in the economics class. There's first degree, second degree, and third degree price discrimination. First degree price discrimination is where you're selling a product at a maximum price to each consumer. Like, you understand what is their highest willingness to pay. The example for this is flight tickets. You know that people are willing to pay that particular cost at that particular point of time. Auctions again are a very nice way to do first degree price discrimination. Second degree price discrimination is based on the quantity purchased. This is where wholesale pricing comes into play. Bundling is also part of second degree price discrimination. So the more you purchase, the higher your discount. Uh, third degree price discrimination is based on your demographics. Say, today all of us are students. If all of you go on to Swiggy and you put your Masters Union ka ID, there are special offers for that. I don't know if any of you are aware of this, but if you aren't, go today. There are on certain brands there are 67% discount that they are giving out. You have Swiggy one that you're getting free for I think 3 months. So again, this is third degree price discrimination. Because you're a student, you're getting it at a cheaper cost. Senior citizen pricing, you would have seen. You would also see that if you're booking tickets for defense personnel, there's a tick box. If you are a defense personnel, your pricing is a little cheaper. So this is third degree price discrimination that's happening either based on, say, your student or senior citizen, or there is country specific pricing. So, for example, the cost of Netflix in India, if it's 1,000 in India, the same cost when I went and I studied, I was living with my brother. There, Netflix was costing almost 2,000, 3,000 rupees in terms of pounds. So each country, each geography, the pricing is very different. So this comes under third degree price discrimination. The last part, the last and final part is bundling. Bundling is a tactic for revenue maximization where you are selling multiple products together. For example, even Microsoft does this where Microsoft is, instead of just selling Microsoft Word for, say, X price at PPT for Y price, they give you an entire Microsoft 365 at, say, a smaller cost. So by bundling both of these and selling it at say 4,000 instead of say 6,000, they're able to get a larger revenue. Again, here what we learned in the promotion technique, the same thing stands, where there is mixed bundling and pure bundling. Microsoft could also sell, its Copilot. So you have Copilot and Microsoft Office, bundle both and sell. That's mixed bundling. Pure bundling is where you're selling Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, and you know your dashboards as well, all throughout as Microsoft 365 pricing. Uh, that's it from bundling. That's it from my side. That's all we have when it comes to pricing techniques as well. If there's anything else that he's probably taught that I've missed, feel free to let me know. I can explain that as well. But yeah, that's what we have overall. This is the topics for quiz 4. Any doubts, any questions, anything that you want me to explain, any other examples that you want me to give?
Nothing from my end, Deep bhai.
Any feedback, anyone wants to give any feedback, please feel free as well.
अरे फीडबैक इज नीडेड फॉर इम्प्रूवमेंट. दीप भाई को क्या जरूरत है इम्प्रूवमेंट की?
अरे तो इतना टांग मत खींच पाई. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. That's it from my side. All the very best for end term as well. I think end term is a bigger portion